How old are you and what's your biggest problem right now? I'm 40 and my mom died yesterday. 55, live alone, work 100 from home and have no friends and family. Shit, be lonely. 61, retired early. All my friends are still working and really have no time for me anymore. The only person I talk to is my husband. I'd like to have friends, but seems like everyone wants to stay away from people. You're so right. Shit, be lonely. 24, and just went through to most intensive year-long battle fighting. Stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I won. Edity, thank you all so much for the kind words. Really does mean the world. With love, Schmeety Edit Pete 2. After a quick sesh with the devil's lettuce, I came to realize that I forgot to mention I owe it all to my loving partner who helped me through all of it. Look out for the ones you love. You're a fucking boss. 62. My husband died suddenly on January 2. Now I have to figure out where my life is going. I'm so sorry. 61F. Relationship, heartache, and likely to be let go at work. I'm too old for either of these when 6 years away from retirement. Christ, that's rough. I hope you're able to exit the rat race. 42 and trying to figure out which of my problems is the biggest. I'm going with finances and depression. I hear... hang in there. Looked at the comments, hoping to see some people worse off than me. Maybe a bit of sadism, maybe a bit of hopefulness. I don't know, I'm just trying to find some reasons to not hate my own existence. But here we are. A couple days ago was my 43rd. My finances suck. I've been depressed most of my adult life, but I'm just really sad right now too. There is a difference between sad and depressed, and I'm both right now. And I don't deserve to be either. I'm healthy. I still have all my limbs and digits thanks to modern medicine, and there are people who care about me, which makes the depression just feel like even more of a failure. I hope you feel better soon. I hope I do too. I'm 62, and I am watching my wife die day by day from pancreatic cancer. She is the love of my life, God's gift to me. I had been married before, but never have I known love until I met her. I cannot breathe. I cannot cry because I must be strong for my beautiful bride. My heart is breaking day by day. When the end comes, I cannot imagine living a day without her smile and laughter. Saw this other comment that might help you. I read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and this particular part had a lasting effect on me. Once, an elderly general practitioner consulted me because of his severe depression. He could not overcome the loss of his wife who had died 2 years before, and whom he had loved above all else. Now, how can I help him? What should I tell him? Well, I refrained from telling him anything, but instead confronted him with the question, what would have happened, doctor, if you had died first, and your wife would have had to survive you? Oh, he said, for her this would have been terrible. How she would have suffered. Whereupon I replied, you see, doctor, such a suffering has been spared her, and it was you who have spared her this suffering. To be sure, at the price that now you have to survive and mourn her. He said no word, but shook my hand and calmly left my office. In some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. I'm 32 and my dad died a month ago. I don't know how to exist in a world that he's not in. I miss him. I'm almost 34 and my dad died at the end of 2020. It gets easier, but it will still sneak up on you sometimes, sending you love and hugs. A dad here. He wants you to live your life to the fullest, love hard, make mistakes. Joy, laughter, exercising your full potential. He wants you to love yourself as much as he loved you. I'm 44, and I lost my dad in August after 2.5 years of dementia and a TBI. I would not bring him back in the condition he was in, but I've cried every single day since July 5, 2022, when he was diagnosed with COVID. I knew that would be the end. I had my first birthday without him last month. When I think I'm finally able to go a whole day without crying, something reminds me of him. Grief is terrible. You are not alone, my friend. I'm 48 and my son is 16. He has a muscle-eating disease called muscular dystrophy and has lost the use of his legs. His arms have weakened to the point that he can barely lift a glass, and he's in a wheelchair. He has an upcoming major surgery for scoliosis caused by the disease that will enable him completely for up to a week. He worries about it and about the disease dying, and on top of that, he gets very depressed about not being able to do the things that other kids his age can do. I worry constantly about him, but there is nothing I can do. That's my biggest problem. He's not the problem, but the fact I can't do anything but worry. Hey there, wasn't going to say anything but thought twice. My mom has MUD. She's 62. Hers sounds like it is progressing much slower than your son's. Me's a tough disease, but there is hope. Google BBP 480. It's the first medicine that can potentially slow or completely stop the progression. It is a really big deal in the meat community. Absolute breakthrough. Don't want to give anyone false hope, as it has been getting delayed for the last few years. It has given my family a tiny touch of hope, something we haven't had. I'm 60. My biggest problem is having to work 50 or 60 or more hours a week just to keep up with the bills. Plus, I have a bedridden wife with cancer, and we're raising our oldest grandson. As Sergeant Murtaugh once said, I'm getting too old for this shit. Sorry, man. Sorry, man. Damn, that's a lot. Way too much. My heart goes out to you all, and I hope something turns your way soon. I'm 50 in the same boat. No retirement. Wife is recovering from surgery for cancer. Don't know anyone in the town. I live in so if something happens to her, I will be lost. She's the only person I've known for the last 25 years. 37. My mother just passed away, leaving me with implied responsibility for my same aged brother with special needs. There was no plan, despite me begging them for years to figure something out. I live 10 hours away and work full-time plus. Now I'm supposed to figure it all out. My brother is also special needs. He lives in a group home and is thriving. Your brother should have a case manager through social services for his county city, social security and Medicaid pay for all of my brother's needs. He gets extra S from my dad, who passed away at 60. Your brother should also be eligible. I honestly don't know how it all works either. I don't know my brother's case manager's name. I'm sorry you have to work through this. 42. Lost my mother this past fall. My son, 8, also has special needs, so I've got a bit of a blend of what you're going through. Make some calls to your county state services. I'm in NI, and he qualifies for several services, including Medicais for the services, including Medicaid. It helps a lot with the cost of meds, and he can get help with counseling, transportation, in home care when that day comes. We were floored by what's out there. It won't fix everything, of course, but it helps an awful lot. 37. And I'm going blind. I don't know how long it will take when I will be legally blind and unable to live my life with the richness, independence, and everything else I expected, but it's coming. It's a crushing inevitability. Every day that I get to see my loved ones' faces is a gift. Edith, I have cone dystrophy. It started as little falling stars in the peripheral vision of one eye and has progressed to completely blurred out central vision in that eye. In lit conditions, my eye has a noise or strobe light effect, like when a normal person looks directly into bright light. My other eye is normal for now, but will eventually go the same way. If you experience any strange symptoms with your eyes, see an optometrist right away. Too many of you are saying you have things going on that haven't been checked. I'm lucky to live in Canada, so I drove straight to the optometrist the day my symptoms started and was immediately sent to a retinal specialist and had testing done. It's a lot of detail, but so many people are asking. I thought it would be easier just to post here. Also, thanks for all the support, you guys. It is very sweet of you all. I have a genetic predisposition to lose my vision before 62. My dad has it, but he didn't know about it beforehand. He was frustrated at a lot if things were more complicated at first, but do not despair too much. Even though his blindness took him by surprise, he still reports that his life is rich and very full. He has new discoveries daily. The first ever was my mom's flower garden. He never noticed the aroma because the flowers were so pretty. Without realizing it, he only ever focused on that. I'm sorry for what lies ahead of us, and I hope you fare better than expected. My husband started losing his central vision at 17, and it finally stopped progressing around 33. He lost his ability to drive, unfortunately, so I'm his main ride. He has 2 jobs, one as a front desk hotel person and the other an office manager for a barber college. People think I'm lying when I tell them he's blind because he's managed to use tools and coping to play games, program, build PCs, fix cars, and help me raise 2 kids under 2. I'm just trying to give you a ray of hope. Humans are amazing at adapting. I hope you have a good night. 78 and knowing I am terminal. I can handle it, but everybody else is in denial. I'm hearing lots of, after all, doctors don't know everything, do they? No, they don't. But they don't know the 5-year survival rate is 1. Now let's all say that together, boys and girls. The 5-year survival rate is 1. I am sorry your support system is in denial and aren't there for you. Is there anyone you can talk about it with? 78 isn't a bad run, man. Sorry you are having to deal with your family being in denial. Sort of reminds me of a Mark Maron bit, comedian. He was talking about knowing he will die as he is getting up there and contrasting dying single versus dying with a partner. Saying how with a partner he would hear a lot of this is so horrible. Oh God, or having a Jamaican nurse saying it's okay B, let go baby. Typed out it's not nearly as funny. He's a good watch, though if you find yourself with a bit of spare time. The hardest part about life is that there is an end to it. Here's to hoping you make the most of it. 74, and don't really have any problems other knowing my time is limited. Don't buy any green bananas, 'cause I might die before they have time to ripen. It's an old people joke. My dad said that for 27 years. He wasn't dying when he first started saying it. He died at age 95. It was kind of annoying. 59 and my thoughts are consumed with losing my wife and best friend. I've loved her for 42 years. I want 42 more. I read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and this particular part had a lasting effect on me once. An elderly general practitioner consulted me because of his severe depression. He could not overcome the loss of his wife, who had died 2 years before and whom he had loved above all else. Now how can I help him? What should I tell him? Well, I refrained from telling him anything, but instead confronted him with a question. What would have happened, doctor, if you had died first and your wife would have had to survive you? Oh, he said, for her, this would have been terrible. How she would have suffered. Whereupon I replied, you see, doctor, such a suffering has been spared her, and it was you who have spared her this suffering. To be sure, at the price that now you have to survive and mourn her. He said no word, but shook my hand and calmly left my office. In some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. I feel this. Therapy is helping me live in the present and not grieve while everything is wonderful. 49. I'm not interested in anything. Exactly the same. I just do not care. Like I actually do not care about anything. Midlife anhedonia is no joke. How can you just get a hobby when there is literally nothing that you care about? I'm a couple of years ahead you, 3 years of anhedonia with no end in sight. It's not even depression. It's just not even depression. It's just I started making an effort to add beauty, art and nature, into my life just so I have good pictures to look at later, hoping that one day I'll care. Mid-30s, fighting my brain to stay alive, just barely winning. Stay here. We are literally all on a rock flying through space. You are not doing life wrong at all. Life can be anything you want it to be. Take one small step to make your life look like you want it to. 37. I started a new job recently that I love and am afraid I'll lose it. Not for any reason, just because I've lost the things loved so often. Now I get suspicious and anxious when things go well. I felt this comment so deeply. Best advice I can give is to just enjoy your job and learn as much as you can. Be as passionate as you can, and I'm sure you'll have no reason to worry. And if the day comes where you do, you'll have learned everything you need and can find an equally or even more amazing job. Rooting for you. 31. Lost a job. Unemployment is getting dry. Cannot find new work. I went back to school at this age. It's better as an older student. 32 and my newborn daughter passed away. This is the most horrible club to be in. I am so sorry. My kiddo was 17 months and will be 6 now. We found it most helpful to just lean heavily on anyone willing to support us, and then waiting. Time just has to march along for a bit. Years while you heal. We decided to start trying to have another fairly soon after the death, and I do not regret that. But I have some things to tell people in the same boat if you want pregnancy and bereavement, our sticky bedfellow. Omj, I am so sorry. My heart aches for you. My newborn daughter passed away about 4 years ago. I unfortunately understand. Take one day at a time, surround yourself with loved ones, join a bereavement group, and try to keep her memory alive. Stay strong, friend. Almost 54. Money, money for the future, my adult children, my husband's health, anxiety and depression. 31. Grief, anxiety, money, never being able to afford a home and by extension, claw my way out of poverty. I have more money now than I ever did in my life, and it still won't get me anywhere. Also 31. Worked hard to get into middle class and finally made it. But now with the rising costs of everything, how expensive medical care and groceries and everything else is, I feel like I'm being pushed back into poverty. I've been having to dip into my savings. I pay a fortune for health insurance and still end up with enormous bills for necessary care for myself and my kids. I don't understand it. I don't understand how my husband and I both pay out the ass to be dual insured and still end up paying thousands of dollars for our son to get speech therapy or for me to have chronic health conditions taken care of. I'm also feeling like having more money now isn't getting me anywhere. I feel like giving up. I'm frugal. We never go out to eat. We drive old cars. We work full-time. But I feel like no matter what we do, we're slowly doing worse, not better. What else am I supposed to do? Tell my kids we can't afford their piano lessons that they love anymore? Work second jobs? With what time? I'm not sure how to say this, but I'll try. I'm 59. After decades of fucking things up, I have a career I love. It doesn't pay the money of a career I could have attained if I'd been willing, but I had 2 kids to raise alone. I understand anxiety, and I've no doubt yours is real. It's a shit thing to have going on in your brain all the fucking time. Anyway, my parents died way too young over 25 years ago, and that taught me to understand that something changes every day. It might not always be a huge thing, it might not even be a good thing, but something changes. My parents saved and budgeted and then they were gone. Like gone. Every day is a gift. Stop worrying about what might change tomorrow. Live. Live today. I understand covering your rent is a real thing, and that can be terrifying. But don't forget to live the fuck out of every day, because someone can take that from you in an instant. While you're worrying about tomorrow, today is happening right now. Live. 31, and I'm skint with no friends and nothing to look forward to. Skint. Adjective of a person having little or no money available. I'm a bit skint just now. 40s and I drink too much and need to lose weight. I only drank 3 times in February and I've increased my daily walks. So I'm working on it. Hell yeah, good job. 32. The job I was hired at still hasn't given me a start date, and my saved money is really starting to run thin. Dude, that's exactly why temp agencies exist, lol. You may not like chucking boxes for $16, huh? But they all pay weekly and it's money in your pocket till you start work. 29. All my bills are going up, but my paycheck is not. I feel this in my soul. I had the same salary between 2019 and 22, and I just kept getting poorer and poorer as the buying power of my salary dramatically decreased. In 2023, I got a $10 raise from getting a new job with 1,000 more stress and responsibility. However, I only feel slightly better off than I was at the beginning of 2019. It's incredibly depressing. This thread is oddly beautiful, a reminder that none of us are alone and everyone has problems. I think so too. I meant to post my own problem, but while reading others and praying for them, I've forgotten mine. 46. My kids won't stop getting sick. They're missing so much school. It's like their bodies have decided to just alternate weeks with different respiratory viruses. Same here. Sleep about 2-3 hours a night. BC, my wife, and I take shifts holding the 8-month-old up to sleep because she drowns in snot if laying down. Have been like this since October. Had like a week break in December. My 6-year-old keeps bringing shit from school. It's never ending. 30 and saving for a house. It seems impossible, even on 2 incomes. Edit. Not in us, but appreciate those who have given advices. Also, the amount of people in the same boat as me is extremely depressing. Something has to change. 36. My dad is at a rest home in the late stages of dementia. It hurts my soul to live with this. 36. Putting dog to rest today due to lymphoma. Edit. Thank you all. He's in peace now. Please give your pets the biggest hug. 22. Figuring my future out. It's an existential period. Just keep experiencing new things until something inspires you. You'll find a path. 32. Being content with what I have. 62. And I'm not sure if it's a fart or not. It is not. Source. Another 62-year-old. Top life advice. Never trust a fart.